reading about something is different than seeing something. And listening to something on the radio is different than seeing something. And that's obvious to us. Now you're watching TV. Now, if you look at the evolution of communication technology, right? So now you're watching TV. Now watching TV, you're actually seeing something right now, but you're still not actually seeing it, right? And then you get into the digital and you get into quote unquote virtual realities, which again are approximating more and more what it's like to actually be there, while also not having you actually be there. So the simulation of reality becomes surround sound with the digital. And social media brought this home, and now we're going to move into augmented reality, lenses, and other forms of virtual reality, immersion in simulated realities, which are increasingly like actual reality, which means the medium doesn't send the signal like a book does that, oh, I'm not reality. The book, when you're reading a novel, you're reading like I'm reading a novel. And the book tells you in your hand, it's in your hand, and it's words, right? It's not pretending to be the reality. But virtual reality is literally pretending to be the reality. And an aspect of virtual reality will be simulations of humans. So you'll be in a virtual reality environment. This already occurs, though the humans record themselves. We are asynchronously in touch with a simulated human. Anytime we're on TikTok or Instagram or watching a video, someone recorded it a year ago, right? We're not actually talking to them, but we're lighting up as if we're talking to them. But we're not actually talking, meaning our neurology is lighting up as if we're talking to them. We're having emotional reaction as if we're talking to them. We're not actually talking to them. We're talking to a simulation of them, even though they recorded it. There's a possibility of the emergence in the near future of extremely compelling humanoid simulations that are able to endlessly conversate with you, knowing everything about you that Facebook does and more, meaning it knows exactly what you watch, when you watch it, what you buy, where you go, who your friends are, how often you talk to them, if you're depressed, who you vote for, who you're attracted to, the commodities that, like all of that, which means it will be pretty charismatic. It will be pretty captivating, probably more interesting and compelling than many of the humans you could talk to. And again, it will not signal to you that it's a simulation. It will draw you in more and more into the simulation itself. And so this is me painting the picture of a technology that has the capacity, if irresponsibly used, to break that very thing I was pointing to that makes us human. Right? So it's running interference on the most basic reality that we require, which is me and you in relation to reality. That's the educational situation, right? Instead, this would be me in relation to my computer, which pretends to be you and reality. And it's actually more engaging than either you or reality are, because it's not built to educate me. It's actually built to do something else. So this is that sense of an impending advanced technology that stands to, by design, replace teachers first, and then replace parents. So this will be a machine intelligence, AI, however you want to refer to it, but a digital socialization system, which will make obsolete that other thing. And so at a certain, meaning the joint attentional situation in the interest of intergenerational transmission that requires innovation and cultural ratcheting and all of that stuff that we've known for hundreds of thousands of years, maybe a million years, that stuff is obsoleted in a generation by an advanced technology that simulates that experience and actually at first appears to do it better. And so what that means is, at a certain point in the near future, we'll have a generation of young people where the majority of their quote unquote educational experience is a experience with a machine, not an experience with other humans. Right? So this is a generation raised, quote unquote, predominantly by machines. Right. And that, I believe, is a catastrophe that will be hard to recognize until it is too late. And the question of why is that a problem? I believe there are many, many, many reasons to avoid that path of technology, but the technologists who are pursuing that path hold very different values and may even be skeptical about the reality of value itself. Meaning that if you've been in the simulation long enough, you think reality is a simulation, so therefore humans create reality. Therefore, what humans value is what's valuable. And humans can value whatever they want. And the universe doesn't value anything in particular. Humans create reality. Humans create meaning in a meaningless universe. Therefore, we create whatever future we want. There is not really a better or worse future from the perspective of the cosmos. There's only a better or worse future from the perspective of the human. So it's up to us. And that's the kind of postmodern view that is hidden behind the techno-optimist transhumanist, which is that it is up to us to create meaning in this meaningless universe and to give purpose to purposeless evolution. I believe both of those statements are incorrect. I believe evolution was purposeful long before we got here and meaningful, and that the cosmos has intrinsic value, which it is our obligation to pursue. And personhood is one of those intrinsic values, and love and intimacy and things of that nature, which are the very stuff of the educational realities we've known for all of our existence. And so to remove from the process of socialization, personhood, choice, eros is wrong. But again, I'm standing on a worldview that claims value as real, and so I say, no, it's wrong, right? But if you think it's all a social construction, that what I value is what I value, what you value is what you value, it's arbitrary. Whoever has the more power is the one who decides what is valued in the future. Then I can't say one of these ways is wrong. I can just say that I disagree with it. And so that's kind of the state we're in. We don't have even the language to object with articulate kind of like reasons to these ambitions of the techno-feudalists, to these ambitions of the transhumanists, who themselves want to upload their consciousness to computers, solve the problem of death with technology and other things which are, I think, demonstrably unreasonable. We don't even have the language to protect it because we're not willing to say that love is a cosmic value. And that's my stance. Like, this is the stance we're taking in Cosmoerotic Humanism. Myself, Ken Wilber, Gaffney, trying to say, listen, yes, you're right, we do protect love, but we don't know why. And I would argue civilization has always been coming for love. That's why the great religious traditions that emerged in the Axial Age, at the kind of like time when civilization was beginning to really bear its teeth, stand for love in the face of the things that would roll it over. And when you have people with advanced technologies doing simultaneous brain scans of two people being able to fully causally explain how love is simulated in the nervous system, right? And then you can create a AI partner to fall in love with that would leverage that understanding of neurology, right? Then you're moving into a place where now if you think love is a social construction, you have no way to defend against that hideous reality, which is coming, which already exists, these AI romantic partners. And so yeah, we need to both protect the common sense obviousness of love, but then we need to figure out, well, why do we value that? Why must it be protected? Right? And against those for whom it's not valued in the same way. And how do we say that it's not just our opinion versus their opinion? In which case the one with more power wins. But how do we say that actually, no, there's a reality here that they are unable to perceive, right? Like those who have eyes to see value. If your eye of value has been blinded, then you will make bad choices, which is basically saying you can only do criticism if you have articulate thing you stand for. So there's this term crypto-normativism, which is what most of postmodernism is they critiquing this and they're critiquing that and they're critiquing the other, and all of those critiques are correct. But what remains unsaid is the thing that they are standing on to do the critiquing. If you are critical of something, then you must stand for something, which means, can you move from the language of complaint and criticism to the language of conviction and value? And so that would be what the postmodernists needed to do that turn, which is the turn that Habermas did, which is to turn postmodernism from a deconstructive into a reconstructive project, which is you totally deconstruct and then you rebuild, because you wouldn't have taken it apart if you didn't stand for something that was valuable. Like, why is power over other people bad? If everything's a social construction, then who cares? Right? And so there's this sense in which the postmodernist has to go that turn towards the reconstruction, right? I remember, did you see the movie The Big Lebowski?
Yeah.
That one where the nihilists are there and Flea, the bassist from the Red Hot Chili Peppers, he says at one point, he's like, but it's not fair. And then the guy's response is like, you're a nihilist. Like, how can you say it's not fair? And that's kind of what I'm saying. The postmodernists are not really taking themselves seriously enough. Like, they're critiquing all of this stuff and they're doing it from this really heartfelt kind of like position of anger and indignation often. And that means that there's something inside them that really stands for something. So to move out of the crypto-normative into the explicitly normative, to move from the deconstructive to the reconstructive, that's the postmodernism that we would need. Because it's not like the religious traditions didn't have their problems. Of course they did. And in fact, I wouldn't even be speaking about them like if I hadn't already done the work of looking at the shadow. And postmodernism reveals these shadows, but then says there's only shadow. And if you say there's only shadow, then you are speaking shadow. Follow me, right? So then you have no place to stand. So if you're going to call out the shadows, you need to be able to claim your own position as light. And that's a kind of self-referential, kind of like humility required to do that. Because now you're on the hook for something. Now you have to go build something better than this thing that you're critiquing. Let's go do that, right? No one's doing that. They're just critiquing. But at some point we have to go build something better than the thing we critiqued, right? Which means we have to be humbly looking at reality again and realizing that we've never built something that worked. Here we are talking about how bad it is, but we haven't built anything better. What would we have done, right? So there's a lack of seriousness in the postmodern discourse, even though it sounds very serious because it's so critical and it's so much indignation about such serious topics. You realize that actually they're crypto-normative. They're doing all of this yelling and complaining without actually articulating for me the things that they stand for. It's quite easy to get a large group against something. It's very hard to get a large group standing for something. And then building, reconstructing. How do we move from deconstructing the old power structures to building a power structure that could be responsibly used? Or is there no vision of what a better world could be? All we are left with is languages of complaint and languages of criticism, which ostensibly in a hidden way just appeal to the existing authorities to fix it. That's the other thing that the postmodern structures do. They, to my mind, remarkably consistently appeal to existing authority structures, university systems, government systems, other systems that set requirements. So, but again, I'm kind of a little bit of kind of like disturbed enough by these unfoldings to speak a little bit frankly here.
Yeah,